So now, what we want to talk about is something that we actually did both see, and that was Kick-Ass.
Kick-Ass.
And you know what? It kicked ass.
It did.
If you didn't see it, you really missed out on something.
Oh, I think it really was so far the best movie I saw this year.
It was really. I don't know if it's the best movie I've seen so far. I'm trying to think, and yeah, you know what it actually was. It was
Yes,
the best movie I've seen so far this year, and I can't even take into account any of the DVDs I got sitting on the floor over there of old movies. Best new movie I've seen so far this year.
I think one of the best superhero movies I've seen. I know you really like Iron Man. I liked Iron Man.
I really liked Iron Man.
I thought Kick-Ass was better than Iron Man.
It was definitely.
It was more enjoyable.
I don't know if it was more fun, because they really did seem like they had a lot of fun with the first Iron Man. I can't speak for the second one, and neither can he, because neither of us have seen it, so don't even ask.
Yeah, we will, though. We will.
We will. Hopefully we will. But Kick-Ass, I mean, the thing is, for me, it had its really positive points. Mm-hmm. But it also, for me, had a few negative points.
I don't really care about the negative. It was a good popcorn flick.
Well, no, it was definitely. And it's not like I'm saying I didn't enjoy seeing it in the theater. It's not like I wouldn't have seen it again in the theater. It's not like I wouldn't own it on DVD. Mm-hmm. It's really one of those kind of things where it was great if I didn't wind up reading some of the comic books.
I read the comic book too, and I still think the movie's great. I mean, I don't even find any real issues. I enjoyed it. I mean, the movie almost reminded me of. It was like a movie that. It was a superhero movie that Quentin Tarantino probably would have directed. It almost had a little bit of a Kill Bill kind of.
Except for the soundtrack. The soundtrack was a little too mainstream. I
like the soundtrack.
I think. Well, no, because the thing is, Quentin Tarantino, he does pretty odd choices.
Yeah.
Really odd. He would have had, like, during some of the fight scenes at the ending, you probably would have heard, and people would have been getting blown up left and right. But the thing is, it was very misunderstood. I think a lot of people looked at some of the trailers and were thinking, oh, it's Home Alone superheroes, and it's not. It's not a bunch of kids running around in costumes just beating up some gangster bad guys. Oh, no. This movie's R-rated for a reason, folks. Mm-hmm. It is gory, bloody. It is explicit as fuck. Holy shit, this movie is explicit. But, I mean, for me, it had its upsides and it had its downsides. There are certain things I liked better in the comic books that I didn't like in the movie that they had changed. And there are certain things in the movie that I thought worked way better than the comic books. Some of the most notable changes in the movie, well, I think in the comic books, Kick-Ass was a little bit more effective towards the end.
I don't know. I don't know about that, because he saw him with the gun. I mean, in the end. He did beat up Red Mist at the end.
Oh, he beat the crap out of him in the end of the book. Red Mist, instead of doing that stupid pretend sword fight, bitch slap fight that they had at the end.
But I don't mind Kick-Ass being almost useless. He's a gateway. He opens up meeting the other superheroes. I don't care. With that. Why does every superhero have to be like?
Well, no. The thing is, it's a question of the evolution of the character. It's a question of taking this character who's almost completely useless and in the end making him more than what he was. In this one, it was almost like he was very level across the whole thing all the way to the end of being borderline useless. And then all of a sudden... No, hold on. Even up to the point where he's got a fucking jetpack with Gatling guns, it's like you don't see any reason why this kid who has a hard time jumping the 10-foot distance from one roof to another all through the movie as if it was a running gag is now totally okay with the first time jumping into a fucking jetpack and firing Gatling guns into a building.
You don't think you could fly a jetpack?
No, because I don't fucking like heights any more than he did. Not to mention those jetpacks, I'm sorry, as awesome as they are, if anyone knows anything about them, they're only good for about 30 seconds of flight time before they run out of juice.
It was a movie.
No, all right. I'll give it some credit. Maybe in the since the 1980s when they invented that jetpack, maybe invented a longer life Yes.
It doesn't have to be realistic. It's
No,
just a
no, it
superhero
doesn't.
movie. Who cares?
It doesn't,
that,
but I
mean, jetpacks. I'm sure the movie makers realize that. And they
I
don't
would
give
have
a
just
shit.
I would have just
They
liked to
fun
have
with
a
it.
little bit more consistency in the evolution of the character up until that point. You know, in the comic book,
he did save Hit Girl's
well,
ass.
yeah,
in the
he
end.
did
I mean,
with the
blew away-
jetpack and everything. Yes,
well, no,
I
then
know.
he used the bazooka. And he
Oh,
did
yeah,
kill-
that was the big that was
his big redeeming.
that whole
moment,
thing
almost.
is the is a culmination from. This is the thing about it being uneven. It's the culmination of where you got it going on, and you got it starting, and it's going up and up and up and up, and it reaches the crescendo where he picks up a bazooka and blows someone away. And instead, what you get is, yep, boring. He's getting his ass kicked. All of a sudden, he gets a bazooka, and it's like, wait, where's the? There's a point in there somewhere along this graph where he was supposed to grow a pair and then really build up into that crescendo, and he didn't do it. It was a little uneven.
I didn't mind.
Maybe I'm just nitpicking.
I didn't care. I think you're nitpicking.
Maybe I am just nitpicking, but the thing is, I really think the comic book had his evolution a little bit better. Because
although it's kind of hard to tell from the comic book because you're
Well, no.
using a lot of imagination.
Think of it.
It's just like one frame. You see him with the gun shooting
No.
the guy.
No. There's other parts. There are other parts in there where he's being tortured. And they're beating the shit out of him, and he's like, "Is that all you got, pussy?" And they're like, he keeps on talking shit to these guys while they keep punching
until
them
his
in the
chair
face.
breaks, and then he grabs the pieces of
and beats
wood
the
and
shit out of them.
Yeah,
But that's the comic book. Where was that in the movie? In the movie, he was basically tied to the chair during the whole scene, and you got the real superhero of the movie and Hit Girl beating the shit out of everyone, blowing them away left and right. I wanted to see him do what he did in the comic book at that point. That was the point on the little graph where he all of a sudden snapped, grew a pair, after getting them electrocuted, by the way, and that's something that happened in the comic book. He actually was like, they were electrocuting his balls with a car battery in there. He's pissing all over himself, bleeding, calling them pussies. They're beating the shit out of him, and then he kicks their asses with Hit Girl. That was the point in the comic book where I think he really just grew a pair, is after they electrocuted him, as if they magically grew, mutated because of the electricity. That's what I wanted to see. Hit Girl instead is the only one that actually saves his ass. Yeah. And I'm sorry, I would have liked to have had him have been that character by the end of it, where he literally finishes his evolution into a real superhero and becomes someone, even though he's not as skilled, is more of an equal to Hit Girl in that respect. Because at that point in the comic book, they had stormed the building together, in the elevator together, and they killed everyone there and beat the shit out of everyone together. Instead, we get this really awesome Matrix scene, which, believe me, it was great. Anytime you get an 11-year-old girl walking into a building, killing everybody, and doing all these Matrix flips and kicks, I'm sorry, that's great. But at that point, it might as well have been the Hit Girl movie. Hit Girl and Big Daddy, the movie. And instead, I really didn't feel as much at that point, I got the payoff with the character of Kick-Ass. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying this is a bad movie.
Oh, yeah, I know.
I just think that Kick-Ass was underused. There are a lot of great positives in there.